7 money lessons I wish I learned at 20 instead of 40. At 20, you think time is infinite. That is the real poverty, not an empty account, a missing sense of urgency about the decades that could multiply anything you put in today. By 40, it flips. Time becomes the scarcest thing you own, and the money you should have built is sitting in someone else's account. These 7 lessons decide which of those two people you turn into. And time doesn't feel scarce until it is. Lesson 1 kills people slowly. You think your salary is your income. It isn't. Your salary is your ceiling. Your real income is the gap between what you earn and what you spend, because the gap is the only part that ever compounds. A 20-year-old making $25,000 who keeps 5 is building more wealth than a 40-year-old making $200,000 who keeps 3. The math is brutal, and it doesn't care how you feel about it. And watch what your first real raise does. 15%. Your brain celebrates. Your savings never see a cent of it. It goes to a nicer apartment, a better car, dinners out. Your spending rises to meet your income like water finding its level. It has a name: lifestyle creep. It is not an accident. The entire consumer machine is built to drain your upside before you ever feel it. Lesson 2 gets uncomfortable. You think debt is bad. Some is. A credit card balance is just stupidity with interest. But the debt that quietly costs you the most is the debt you were too scared to take. The skill or degree you didn't fund that would have doubled your income. The mortgage you didn't get because borrowing felt dangerous while you handed a landlord money for a decade. By 40, the person who played it safe has paid $500,000 in rent and owns nothing. The person who borrowed at a fixed rate owns a home. The comfort of no debt was a luxury they bought with their own future. Fear made them poor, not caution, fear. Lesson 3 is where the real game shows itself. Compound interest was never about money. It's about time. Put $300 a month into the market at 20, and at about 7% a year, you retire near $800,000. Start the exact same habit at 30, and you land a little under $400,000. Same discipline, same monthly check. The 10 years you waited cost you more than $400,000. Not because the math changed, because you ran out of decades to let it work. The gap between 20 and 30 is worth more than the gap between 30 and 40. But 30 feels far away at 20. That is the trap. By 40, you can feel exactly how fast it went, and you can count every year you spent on things you can't even name anymore. Most people stop right there. Save early, invest, done. They miss lesson 4, the one that actually builds wealth: leverage. And the strange truth is, you can only afford it at 20 because you have nothing to lose. No mortgage, no kids depending on the check, no reputation to protect. Your worst case is moving back in with your parents. That is the cheapest downside you will ever have in your life. So this is the window to take the risky job, the equity instead of the salary, the idea everyone calls stupid. Most of those bets fail, but the ones that hit multiply your income in a way a paycheck never will. At 40, your downside is your family stability, so you play it safe, and you spend years quietly wishing you still had permission to gamble. Use the asymmetry while you have it. Lesson 5 is about cost. Not yours, everyone else's opinion of you. You spend your 20s buying signals, clothes that say something, a car nicer than your apartment, an apartment nicer than your future. Real money for invisible things, for 3 seconds of a stranger's attention. By 40, you add it up and realize you spent hundreds of thousands looking a certain way for people who forgot you existed. The person who actually gets rich young looks poor and thinks rich. Same clothes, reliable car, lives where they can save, not where they can be seen. That is not being cheap. Every dollar spent on perception is a dollar that can't compound for 40 years. That is not frugality. That is arithmetic. Lesson 6 breaks the whole savings fantasy. You cannot optimize your way to wealth. Save 30% of $50,000 a year and after 20 years you have 300,000. That is a nice car. That is not freedom. That is just the slow output of selling your time. Real wealth, the kind where the money works and you don't, comes from raising what you earn and building something that keeps earning after you stop showing up. And here is where most videos tell you to start a side hustle. Don't. A side hustle you grind out tired after work is just more time selling with extra steps. What you want is something that scales. A skill you can sell to 1,000 people instead of one. Equity, ownership, something that doesn't die the day you stop. At 20, you have the energy to build it. At 40, you have the obligations that stop you. Lesson 7 is the one that breaks people quietly. You think money is the goal. It's the tool. At 20, you are certain that more money equals freedom. Then you earn more, and you still worry. Just a more expensive worry. The person making 200,000 lies awake over taxes, over markets, over keeping it, losing it, whether it is even enough. Freedom was never the number. It was the gap between what you have and what you actually need. And at 20, you can close that gap from both ends, by earning more and by wanting less. Wanting less is a choice almost no one will let you make. Family will push. The feed will push. Everything is engineered to inflate your number. But the people who are genuinely free at 40 are the ones who decided at 20 what winning actually was. Their number, not the one they were handed. Now here is the part that will test you. You do all of this and none of it pays off fast. It pays off slowly, in silence, over years. You won't feel rich at 25. You won't feel rich at 30. Meanwhile, the person beside you takes the promotion, buys the house, leases the car, and looks like they're winning. You're still in the same apartment, same car, and your net worth is quietly climbing while theirs sits still. Nobody can see it. That is the trap the whole system runs on. Visible wealth feels real. Invisible wealth, the compounding account, the skill that keeps appreciating, the thing you own that runs without you, feels like nothing right up until the day it's everything. By 40, you finally see which one you became. One version has the nice car, the mortgage stress, the promotion anxiety, and the quiet certainty that one layoff ends everything. The other has options. Time, the ability to say no. Both futures were sitting in front of you at 20, equally available. But only one of them was visible, and only one of them felt true. That is why almost everyone picks the wrong one. You will understand every word of this on the day it can no longer help you.